So we all know what kind of bird this is?
It is a chicken.
You'd be surprised, there are adults that don't.
It's a chicken. Mm. Cute.
We always have to stretch out.
Yeah. She's a baby.
Thank you.
How are you, baby?
Yellow. She's a little warm.
Cute.
So the exerciser, you still take her for walks?
Yeah, we go for walks. We do a lot of programs. We do quite a few up there and stuff. She's pretty famous. You know, I had they wanted me to bring her back, or to get her ready to go back for like Good Morning America and that kind of stuff. And the logistics of flying with a bald eagle are just, I mean, it's probably easier to move the president around.
How much does she weigh?
She's about 10 or 11 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you guys want a kind of a general idea of what that's like, you put your arm in a right angle like this, and make sure your elbow is right next to you, and like that, and go home and take a 10-pound sack of flour, sugar, and put it right there in your fist and just stand there.
Or just carry an SKS rifle.
That'll work, yeah.
Excuse me, do you let her fly and come back?
No, she can't fly. You see, this wing doesn't open all the way. No. If she could fly and be released, she would have been gone years ago.
And she's a female?
Yes. Yeah. The girls are the big ones. A little bit about...
The girls grow bigger.
Yeah, raptors, the girls are the big ones. So if you see two sitting in a tree, two whiteheads, the bigger ones. Anybody want to fathom a guess of how many feathers she has? Well, her favorite food is very small children. If we don't have any of those, she likes turkey legs and bunnies and deer.
I'm going to say 3,000.
No, but that's a good guess. She has 7,000 feathers. Yeah. And see this right here, she's hot. That's why her mouth is open. They pant like a dog. That's how they... Yes. No, they're not that kind of a hunter. I mean, it's rare. Maybe a golden might take down a fawn, but these guys can only fly with, usually the max is about 1/3 of their body weight. So if you have a 12-pound bird, you know, it's only going to be able to fly with 4 pounds. But they can kill, and they will eat on the ground. But even better hunters than that are peregrine falcons. They'll actually kill Canada goose in midair. You know, and they're way bigger, but they'll follow them down and eat what they can. I mean, they fall up their feet and hit them in the stoop, and that's actually more powerful than the impact of a bullet. Yeah. And they're just little birds. They're just a solid muscle. So these guys here, you can see they get their white head when they're about anywhere 3 to 5, it varies. And the beaks, when you see a real young one, it's going to be almost solid black. It's going to have an ebony beak, like that. So the older they get, the whiter they get. Close the mouth now. Now their wingspan's 6.5 to 7 feet. On the bottom of their feet, it's a very cool adaptation. One second. It's like super rough sandpaper, and they're called spicules. That allows them to grab fish without actually having to pierce with these talons. It's just sticky stuff, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, right. Yeah.
What age do they get their full wingspan?
Oh, well, they're 3 months old. They're full grown. Yeah. Yeah, and actually really young birds look bigger than adults because their feathers are longer and wider. As they get older, the feathers shorten up and they put on body mass. So the elders look like they're smaller and weigh less, but they don't. They're actually way more. Well, the other ones are just feathers. Now, interesting, a little story about when we did the book sheet cover, which it was really interesting because there were 3 things that happened. There were 2 different photo shoots. And the second day was the one where we picked the cover from, even though day 1 was actually pretty cool. A friend of mine, Annie Musselman, who shot all this stuff, she's been all over the world, Life magazine, Time, all kinds of stuff. And she's local here and just an absolutely brilliant photographer. She has a way of capturing the emotion of the moment where other photographers can take the same picture and it just looks like a good picture. But hers always has that extra something there you go. So we're going to shoot in West Seattle on a Saturday afternoon by the beach. So we get down there and we park, and we're as you head into West Seattle from over, you drive all the way down past the beach, all the way down past the fish and chips, Buds, and down that road. So I park, I go scope out right across the street. There's a lot of driftwood, so I have to make my pathway, figure out how I'm gonna go to get down to the sand. She's down there setting up. I go back across the street, get her out of that. She's in the back of my truck. Get her up on the arm, and I walk to the corner like this. It's a Saturday afternoon park, or people, nobody notices a thing. I'm standing there going, wow, this is pretty weird, but all right. I walk across the street with an eagle on my arm, get down there, and we're starting to take pictures, and the sun is shining. It's a kind of a cold, crispy day, but there's not a cloud in the sky, and the wind's starting to pick up. Everything to make her freak. It's like, I'm an eagle, this is where I'm supposed to be, and she's trying to want to fly, and just be really, really hard to control. But she wasn't. Because a lot of times if there's situations that I know is going to be uncomfortable or something, I try not to get her in those, but I'll also ask her permission. So we're over there taking pictures, and pretty soon, here come the crows and the seagulls. From every direction, screaming. And there's a really big tree right there with no leaves, and they're all lighting it. In the meantime, there's this swirling mass above our heads, and there's more coming. And Annie had heard me talk about this, but she'd never seen it before. She was like, oh, now I know what you mean. And so pretty soon, people are coming out of their condos. So, oh, what's all the racket? They look down, and then they see us all down there, you know, and they're going, oh. So they kept a pretty respectful distance, even the people on the sidewalk, which was, we were probably from here to where Sandy is over there. So we get done. Tide's coming in. I go, okay. I take her back up there. I cross the street. And the truck is about 2 to 3 parking spaces down. I get there, and I see this Volvo coming down the street. It's a station wagon. And only one car can go. It's a tiny street. So I put her in there. And I'm putting all the stuff away, and I hear this voice going, excuse me, excuse me. What is that? You know, and I turn around, and the woman had rolled down her window, and it's her, obviously her husband, and maybe a 19-year-old kid in the back seat. She goes, did you just catch that eagle? I go, why yes, you want to buy her? It's like, I go, no, I'm with the Sarvey Wildlife Center. She's an educational bird. I showed people the card and stuff. And I go, and by the way, in all the years I've been taking her out in public and doing this, you're the only person who's ever asked me that. So thank you. So then, after that, we got to go. We're going way up to the top of West Seattle now, and it's still. I mean, it's a beautiful day. The Olympics, and they're covered in snow. The water's just bright blue, and the wind is just whipping through there. Now we're at this cul-de-sac, and it's just almost straight down this grass slope, hundreds of yards. And so we're standing there, and he's taking this picture after picture. And when the wind would come in, I would just kind of bring her in and wrap my arm around her, like that, just hold her in so she wouldn't freak. And she was really good with that. So I feel this gust coming. And I do that, and I kind of step to the side, and Andy just kept shooting, and that's actually the picture that's on the cover. So we finished with all that, and then she goes, her dad lives at the bottom of the hill. He's had a stroke, he's an artist, but he's blind now, and he's in a wheelchair. And we bring Freedom down there to see him. You know, she'd asked before, and I go, sure. So we go back down into West Seattle, and we're parked right on the street. There's people everywhere. I bring her out, and her dad's there, and I come up, I take his hand, and I put her on her foot. And she's really good, and people aren't coming by. They're very respectful, you know, and the caretakers and Andy, they're all, everybody's boo-boo-booing it. And she's been really good, and her dad's been here. So for that day, the amount of visual stimulus this bird had should have put her way over the top, but she was spectacular. So I was very, very proud of her. And she had a child to eat when she got back. Yes, very good. And their spit is salty, by the way.
Yeah.
We did it's been so long since I read the book, I don't remember what was in it, because by the time it was published, I don't want to see it anymore. We did a program years ago, Kay and I, and it was for an Eagle Scout. And we get there, it's a summer day, and there was a real bad traffic accident. There was a fatality accident, and we were really, really late. So we get there right about the end of the deal. And it's in a church, which she's not a fan of churches to begin with. It's got a basketball hoop. She hates those things. Anything up over the head is like, oh, oh. So she's hot, and it's, you know, it's one of those upper 80, low 90 degree days in Redmond. You know, so she's hot, and it's just been a stressful afternoon, and we get in there, and she sees all this. And So we're taking pictures. I get the young man that's there to have some pictures taken, and we'll let me back up. When I take her out for programs like today, I make sure that she doesn't get fed. That's like a standing rule, because riding in the truck, sometimes the overexcitement will make her throw up. Somebody fed her that day, and they fed her a rat. So
Nice.
we're standing in there, and I can see her getting ready to puke, and I just go like this, and here comes, look, that's a half-digested rat. And man, oh, it stings. So, right on the carpet in the church, she christened it, you know. And so Hay gets down there and the smell is like, and she's like, blood, blood, blood. Spit's flying everywhere, you know. So, and this young man's mother was in this really nice blue dress, and she was a sweetheart, you know, and she was going to get her picture taken with Freedom. And she's done all spitting, and so she stands up next to Freedom. Well, she wasn't quite done spitting yet. And right in the eye, all the way right down the side of her dress, you know, and she just like, smiled, and it was all good with her, you know. You were spectacular. Yes.
She ever show any kind of aggression?
You know, she has shown aggression to other to volunteers. Sometimes that will new ones that will clean her flight, and it just depends on how she perceives the person. Birds will test you, especially eagles. They'll test you to see what they can get away with, and she'll definitely push buttons. There's a story I do talk about in there. I'll just give you one example. This girl was about 18 or 19, was a volunteer, and we told her about this bird. Anyway, she went out there to clean her flight, and the flight was at a different spot than it is now, and it was way out back. And I come out of the front door, and I hear this, help me, help me. So I'm going, where's that coming from? Help me. And I'm like, okay, I'm following her out, and it's coming from her flight. I go in there, and the girl is pinned in the corner, like this, and this bird's right out in front of her.
Oh, he likes that story.
I go, you let her go, and she backs up, and she ran out of there, and she would, even if I had this bird on the arm like this, she would go to the other wall of this room. And also, she does telegraph stuff. Like, I can tell if there's people that make her nervous. Sometimes she'll, if I'm talking to a crowd of people, and there's somebody in there that's making her nervous, she'll slide right up over here on the arm, and I can feel her body just tense, and just change. It's almost imperceptible to somebody looking, but you know, I kind of describe this is almost like a ballet with her. I mean, it's the movements, and you got to think ahead and see what's going to stimulate them. And I can read her before she's going to do stuff. Yeah.
Is it okay to pet her?
No, I mean I can, but no, you would get hit, and probably.
Are you sure? I've already pet an eagle before.
Yeah. No, she's not a pet like this. She's part of what makes her real special to me and to everybody else is she came in as a wild bird. She grew up, she had parents, and she lived in a nest for 3 months, so she knows she's an eagle. But she still allows me to take her out and do these things with her. It's kind of a gift. So
Okay.
they have a zone, like people, so that anybody that gets into that zone other than me, she will lash out and strike.
Okay.
So I have to, I got to watch it with her anyway. Plus, there's fish and wildlife rules. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, this is my baby. I'm the only one who handles her yet. I tried at one point, maybe a year or so ago, looking for somebody to get used to just having her get used to somebody else and pick her up and put jesses on. And so I got anklets and jesses. So I got her all like that. And this is a person that she's known for years. And the glove, I put her on the glove, and then we're standing there, and she just turned around and bit her in the face twice.
Ouch.
She didn't draw blood, but it was like bam, bam. I go, well, she's kind of sending a message that it isn't going to work. Yes? I think it's 95 or 96, I'm not actually sure. I didn't fill out the paperwork, it was kind of loose then. Nobody sets foot in that place without signing paperwork now.
No.
Yeah.
Now I know a macaw's bite is like harder than a shark. Now, what is a macaw's bite compared to an eagle?
Well, I mean, those kind of birds can break bones, you know. These guys aren't designed for breaking bones. They're designed for ripping meat. So they do that very well, but they're not, I don't think it's as strong as a macaw as the actual power.
Okay.
But what it's designed for is pretty special.
Okay.
Was there another? Yes. We're in Arlington on 148th and Burn Road, between Arlington and Granite Falls, and out in the country. There are pamphlets up here, and there's websites on there, and I think I'm not sure the address is on there or not, but you can always call and get directions. Yeah.
Have you, in the time that you volunteer here, is there others that are volunteers that are attached to those animals that you are attached to?
Oh, you know, there are others, because we have a lot of educational raptors. You know, we have owls and hawks and falcons and stuff, so some of them do, but, you know, I was really the first one she's the first eagle we've had that's glove trained, and I kind of set the wheels in motion of where other handlers now that we let the birds pick who they like, and then there'll be a primary handler, then a secondary, and sometimes a third. But she's not at that point where I don't have anybody I can actually pick up now that I'm comfortable with and training to deal with this bird. Because by all standards, the way you train raptors, I didn't do any of that. And there's some stuff that we just don't do. Like when we transport these guys, we don't put hoods on them. They go in carriers. Most other people that work with raptors always put hoods on them, and freaks her out because she knows the only time she gets a hood is when we poke the talons in the beak, and that's just filing them down. But other than that, you know, we kind of picked them for their temperament, and we asked them. You know, it's a lot of Native American kind of stuff that we were brought up with, especially up there with Kay, and we just asked these guys to do what they do, and most of the time, you know, they're there for you. So they listen and understand and do all kinds of stuff. I mean, I can sit here all day and tell stories about this one. So let's see, where else were we? I know we had some other stuff. Well, we're going to stretch out where we work. Get out of there.
Oh, baby. He's cute. So cool.
So they successfully rehabilitated eagles now at Sarmy, right?
Oh, yeah. We release eagles every year.
The birds provide like a question of their, it's not in the weather, they get no hope, and I'm not
Good question. They do actually both. They keep them warm and they also keep them cool. They can make them act like a wetsuit where they'll do what's called rouse, and it's just when they fluff out their feathers, they straighten them up. Well, they can trap air underneath that. It's almost like seals it in, and the body heat will heat the air trapped in there and help keep them warm. They can also release air like that in the summer to let cooler air in and do that. And these feathers are all waterproof, so when it rains on her, it beads up. It's like little tiny curls, and it rolls off of there. So when we see birds come in that the feathers are soaked and it's not beating up on them, they have a problem. They can get hypothermic like that, and then we have to bring them in, we rehab them, and we waterproof them, you know, squirt them and get them a little bit wet to make sure the oils get spread around, and that's what they do. So see, now what I'm doing here is like she's going to have to go home after all this and take a bath to get all the people home. She loves taking a bath. That's right. Pardon? Oh, I don't give her a bath. She has a big pool. She hops in there. I call it run silent, run deep. She just submerges her head up under it, and then comes back out, and there's a song going on, and water's flying everywhere, and it's a party. And a couple of weeks ago, we had some fresh venison in, so I had a turkey leg for her, but it's like, oh, she loves turkey. So I cut out a couple of big strips. And she was already in the bath by this time, so I walk in there and show her the venison. She's like, whoa. You know, they give her that. So she's eating venison in the bath. It was like, it's kind of like Caesar and grapes, only a little different. Yes.
How is their vision compared to human vision?
You know, the general rule of thumb, and to be honest, I don't know if this is true, but that's what everybody says, is they can read a newspaper at a mile. But what I can tell you for sure, though, is on their pupils, there are two indentations, they're pretty deep, and they're called foci. And these are packed with sensory cells. And one is for monocular vision, and one is for binocular vision. And that's what what gives them their acuity, that they can see at such clarity at such distance. So predators have their eyes always facing forward, like these guys are pretty much facing forward, but they can switch between monocular vision and binocular vision instantly. So when they're flying, they don't have to turn their head and look down like that. They can just go like that, and it switches, and they get all their depth of field, their focus, and everything. They go back and forth. It's an amazing adaptation that they have. It's pretty cool.
Or is it me or someone else? Me.
No, you.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? I just want to make sure I'm talking loud enough. My brother was in the Secret Service, and when he was in the Secret Service, he was shot 3 times. Then he was a police officer, and then was also shot and also stabbed. So when the U.S. Navy was working with dolphins, they also found that the macaw was they can actually talk to them. So then they gave my brother a macaw, and that actually is the very first service bird, actually. So, and you can actually look it up. You'll find my brother's on there as the very first service bird. I'm curious, did they find anything that you can use with the eagle?
Eagles are not allowed to do. You're not allowed to do that with an eagle. They're federally protected.
Okay.
They either have to be released in a zoo or in a rehab center. You can't
Gotcha.
use them for birds like that.
But do they have any intelligence that they found with them? That's what I was curious about.
There's all kinds of intelligence with these guys. They can tell time. She knows what day of the week I'm supposed to be there. Knows the sound of different footsteps on the same gravel. She knows when she's going to see people, when she's not. She knows the difference. There's a lot of different things. They're very intelligent birds, especially if you give them time and get to watch them. And their personalities are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Her neighbor is Lumble Ashkate, which means eagle that plays. And she, when you give her food, she'll grab it with both feet and start jumping up and down and spinning around. And I've got video of her with a squeaky ball when she was really young inside. She'd grab that ball and jump straight up in the air and smash it on the ground and make it squeak. And she'd just fall around the clinic. Yes.
I used to volunteer out there, and that eagle would make me dance when I was
Who, this one or one?
Oh, yeah.
This one.
when she was in the bath.
Uh-huh.
But what I found interesting, and you might want to share if they still do it, is when an eagle has died, if they don't come in, what they did with the birds.
Well, I mean, what we do with the birds?
Right, what they go to.
They go to a repository in Colorado. If we get a dead eagle in or one dies there, or we have to euthanize it, we have to report they come in, and then we have to report what happens to them. And then they get sent off to Colorado, and they're there on a waiting list for Native Americans. They sign up to get eagle parts. Some can get the whole bird, some can get heads, feathers, whatever, and they're all used in religious ceremonies. They're the only ones, you have to be a card-carrying Native American to have feathers. And they're still protected under the same laws as the Endangered Species Act, even though they're down as a threat, it's still the same penalties. They're also in the Migratory Bird Act and involved in golden eagle protection. Yes? Oh yeah, I talked quite a bit about that in the book. Yeah. Do yourself a favor and read it. Yeah, they do respond to that. In fact, there's an instance that I actually somehow forgot to put in there, and I was like mortified. I was like, oh, how did I forget that part? But in the midst of editing, years ago, if I didn't show up on the days I was supposed to be there, she would get real upset when I came back and start flopping and squawking around. And it got to be pretty serious for a while. And then if she didn't do that, she would turn her back to me. I would walk to the front of her, she'd spin around and put her back to me. So I think the second time we're on Martha Norwalk's Animal World, it's a radio show. And I've got her in the studio, and it's like at the end of the show, and I just casually mentioned this to Martha. I go, she was probably maybe 3 years old at the time, at the most. And I mentioned this to Martha, and she goes, here, try this. She goes, before you go, tell her you're going to go. And tell her how many days. She goes, use light and dark for days, which I didn't use that. I would just use numbers. I'm going for 3 days, and she goes, ooh. and let her know. And when you're gone, send her a mental postcard each day. It doesn't have to be, 10, 15, 30 seconds, whatever. Just go, I'm thinking of you, or whatever message you want to use, and send it to her. It's like, okay, I'll try that. So the next time I tried that, and I've been doing it ever since, and not once has she reacted the other way since I started doing that, and that's 10 years, at least. Yes?
How often do they move their beds?
Once a year. So they're coming up on a molt here pretty quick. Yes?
Two questions. Are they made for life, and how long is the incubation period for their eggs?
The eggs is about 30 to 33 days. By all standards, they do make for life, but they will take another one if the other one doesn't show up or gets killed or whatever. So they're more monogamous than people are. Did I see another hand over there? Oh, okay, we'll start from that end and we'll go this way. Yes? Her neighbor is her friend, you know, and she has people visit her every day. And now she actually has a house where she can get away. So I actually saw these things in Alaska. They use them for bears, so bears don't get the raptors that they keep. They go, that would be a good idea for a house for her. So she likes that a lot. Yes?
Excuse me, I know that they were endangered species, I know that people are anybody other than Native Americans have them. I live out on Tomato Island, we have lots of eagles out there. If I happen to find an eagle feather somewhere, am I allowed to pick it up?
No. By law, you're supposed to leave it there, and if you get caught with it in your possession, you got a lot of problems. You can't prove you didn't kill the bird, and even they're not on the endangered list anymore, but they're on the threatened list, and the penalties are all the same. At the end, when President Clinton was leaving office, Hillary was at this some big, it's either Chicago or Detroit, somewhere up there in the Midwest, one of the big cities, and this woman presented her with a dream catcher. Well, on the dream catcher was a white feather, her front and center from, I want to say BC, one of those, maybe Vancouver or something like that up there. She centered this white feather and she put it on the dream catcher. Well, it was an eagle feather, tail feather. And it took her over 2 years and I think $10,000 to get out of this. You know, they prosecuted. So it's, they're very serious about it because there's still a huge black market in their parts. You read about it every once in a while, so. Yeah. Yes. You can call Fish and Wildlife, you can call the police, you can call us. You know, we go out and get them. I've gone out on plenty of rescues for birds. It's funny sometimes when people will, what they see when they see these birds, because they don't know. And the year, right when I was finishing writing this thing in, I think 2010, we got a call. Leslie calls me up. She goes, "Hey, there's a guy in Duval, and he's got 2 eagles down in his yard. He says one is protecting the other one." I'm going, and I don't think so. There's probably 2 there. So I get over there, and in the car I have that carrier, I have an eagle net, and I have this huge coat that this kid I mentored gave to me. And it's a 5 double X. I mean, you know, it's like I'm 180 pounds, so I could put 4 in it. But it's like this Pendleton, and it's really warm. So I grab that. I go, "This would be a perfect thing." So I get there, and there's an eagle face down on the ground, and it's covered in blood. The head is red. There's another one right next to him with his wing over. And I mean, to me, it was obvious what had happened. He hit him in midair sideways and threw him into the ground. So I got a jacket and I got a net. So I throw the net over the one that's holding him, and he lets go immediately. He starts hopping up, man. And I've got the thing on this one here, and I'm watching him, and I got that. He's good. Let him go. Pick up the other one, and he missed. He didn't make it, but he lasted a few weeks. He had some serious eye damage, and it was just one of those. It was just too much. And, you know, we go to the nice shot. You know, when we do schools and stuff like that, anytime the birds troop, it's thinking a lot. The kids go, "Yee!" And I go, "I can aim her." They all go, "Okay." And a golden eagle is really impressive. I mean, they can hit you right there in the elbow. It's like a shot. Yes, you and the white.
What age do they start growing their feathers?
When they're babies, when they're hatched, they have little pin feathers, and they just like a down, and it changes. You know, as I say, in 3 months they have their feathers and they're full grown, so it's a daily change. Yes.
How did she stay very brief and she was down forever?
She fell out of her nest about 80 feet. She had a sibling, and we're not sure if she was just trying to fly or was pushed out or whatever, but she was amazing.